Okay, so when we first enter pasture base online, the first thing we've done from the previous video is set up our paddocks. And if we want to view our paddocks, we just go to farm details and paddocks, and we can see all the paddocks on the farm. So then we can go back to our dashboard. And now we can see grass. There's no cover recorded on the farm. So the first grass record we want to put in on the farm occurs on the pasture base website. So for this, we click on add new cover here. And we want to enter the date. So we'll put in today's date and we'll click continue. And here we can see all our paddocks on the farm. And if we simply enter our covers, and once we enter all our covers, we can see that move to wedge has become green. It was red before this. And all our paddocks are down as grass. We have the option to change the paddocks to other enterprise, reseed, silage cut now, or silage cut later. Being grazed is an option, but that's only following in subsequent walks. So on our first walk, this is how we enter our data, and we click move to wedge. And when we move to our wedge, we can see our wedge here in front of us. And the first point to point out is the width of each green bar represents the size of the paddock in hectares. So if we look at this paddock here, it's 2.23 hectares, and the one beside it is 1.29 hectares. And then we can look at our axis. So on the x-axis, we have the number of each paddock, which is the identification of each paddock. On the y-axis, we have the kilos of dry matter per hectare. So this is the average cover in each paddock, average farm cover. So we have 200, 400, up to 1800. And as we typed on the page before, we can see paddock 7 has 1800 of a cover. We can see below we have our farm cover and our cover per livestock unit, our growth and our demand, and our stocking rate, which is our livestock units divided by our hectares. We can see here our grazing area is 15 hectares, and as mentioned on the previous page, if land was dedicated to silage cut now or silage cut later, it will appear in these instead of the grazing area. We can see our farm cover is 659, entered in terms of the average farm cover across all the paddocks. But our cover per livestock unit is 0, and it's appearing as 0 because we can just see at the bottom of the page, there's no animals entered. And we can see here this as well, in terms of our total livestock units is 0. So once we have our data in, we now need to edit the number of animals on the farm. So for this example, we can change this to 30, and then we can put in a grass intake of, for example, 16 kilos and 1 kilo meal. And once we edit our stock numbers, we can see that save and update is now red. So we need to click on save and update. And now land is in here at 31 kilos per hectare, and our stocking rate has now appeared. Another question that comes up is our red line, which is our demand line. So the reason this is currently on the y-axis or on the x-axis is our rotation length is blank. So is our pre-grazing yield. So we can do two things. We can either edit our pre-grazing yield, and for mid-season this could be set to 1400, or we can set our rotation length. For this example, we can set because the growth is 0, we can edit our pre-grazing yield. So we edit our pre-grazing yield, for example, to 1400, and again we click save and update wedge. We can now see the red demand line indicates where the paddock should be along the wedge, and this will help to guide us if there is a surplus or deficit appearing in the wedge.